Pretending to be a beginner artist seeing an increasingly rapid and practically unbelievable level of improvement, all the while dipping yourself in the waters of the TikTok art community and basking in all the glory and praises that comes with it, is a new low I never expected the already sunken art community to reach, but we are metaphorically sinking deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole of our TikTok like innocent Alice in our bright blue gown, tumbling and trying to find our way in all this mess. Our TikTok just spawned a new addition to its drama in the form of an artist pretending to be a total beginner, clueless and having no idea how to draw or paint, and then all of a sudden springing into life buzzing with art mastery as if a metaphorical genie rubbed a lamp and granted them 3 wishes of art skills, fame, and an underlying itch of starting controversies. Other fellow art community yappers on YouTube have posted videos talking about the situation, so I too decided to spread apart the curtains and take a little peek and see what's happening on the other side. Artist and TikTok user who goes by Candi posted a video on their profile where they indirectly called out people who were creating accounts on TikTok pretending to be beginner artists, claiming their accounts were experiments and they were just touching the pencil for the first time. Unknown to the rest of us what all this drama was about and why Candi was making this video in the first place, it so happened that quite a few beginner artists had already been doing this for a while, and in so doing had grown their accounts substantially, reaching deep and scooping up their fair share of internet fame with fake accounts as their holy grail. People who were abreast with these occurrences rushed to the comment section to call out accounts they had seen that appeared to be using this new meta and pretending to be beginner artists while pissing off actual beginner artists with their endeavors. Fellow YouTuber and connoisseur of art yapping content on the platform, Candi, made a video where they went through the entire situation trying to decipher and make meaning from the mess we had on our hands.
Bruh says, what happened to supporting beginner artists? Caitlin says, please, that looks really cute. Keep improving and your art will look even better. Happy. This is 2 months ago. This is from May 26th. So it's a little bit less than 2 months ago. So if you look over here at their art, it looks, I'm gonna be blunt. I'm gonna be honest. It looks a little jank, but it's okay.
Candi's account was so obvious. Randomly knowing how lighting and color works in 2 days is not realistic. Wish I could improve that quickly. I was very proud of Candi until they started posting art that was very good and calling it an improvement. Like, buddy, that's only a week difference. How the hell is that real? I don't hate Candi, but I still think what she did could have hurt beginner artists who are seeing their massive improvement. Candi, whose name appeared multiple times in the comments and was probably coughing and hearing their name being called out to them randomly in their house due to the sheer amount of times they were called out and mentioned in that video, is an artist who has been supposedly sharing their art as a beginner and posting updates so everyone who follows them can see the gradual progression in their art and also comment them along the way. But the gradual progression just didn't seem gradual at all. In fact, it seemed rather drastic and overnight, according to some. Your art became so good in a week. I feel like this account is a social experiment. I'm sorry. I believe that there's no way you can improve that much in a week. Something's telling me this improvement is not humanly possible in 6 days. Okay, what the flip? How did you grow from 3 lines to God artwork? The fact that a large majority of the people in the comments were questioning the authenticity of this art anomaly and wondering how other people were falling for their tricks and letting themselves be fooled into thinking this account was actually that of a beginner artist just shows the extent TikTok has crushed artists and their expectations for their art to the point where they will literally do anything to create an idealistic image of how people view them. Candi shared a series of drawings where they showed an anime character and then proceeded to draw some fan art of the character, asking their viewers to go easy on them since they were apparently beginner, and encouraged their art while telling them what they could do to improve their simple little drawings. The first attempt at drawing Miku has over 1 million views and almost 23,000 comments, which on one hand is quite a shitload of comments for a single person to read, and on the other is pretty disturbing when the comments are filled with people just making fun of them for how bad the drawing looks, or roasting them for not even bothering to put a watermark on it because the drawing is just so bad that no one will even bother trying to steal it, regardless if it's an actual beginner's account or not. This is the current state of the art community on TikTok, and you can clearly see why no one is eager to join. Candi's drawing of Miku, which they tried to be as close to the reference as possible, is everything you would expect from a beginner artist still struggling to learn about anatomy and proportions. The hands are a little bit longer than the reference, and if you compare the proportions with the rest of the body, you'll see it really needs some adjustment here and there. The flat colors are not bad and would have looked better if Candi had not taken the time to try to go over and add some shadows with a soft brush, which usually would work if there were still harder shadows in the drawing. But leaving all the shadows pretty soft and using black instead of picking a color from the environment and using that on a multiply layer ends up making the entire drawing look muddy and less appealing. A thing to keep in mind when painting for the next time. Candi presenting their wonderful art and getting the appreciation they deserve in HD 4K live action. I don't know why everyone is so mean. They're beginner artists. What do you expect? Candi, I'm so sorry about them. If you want to really improve though, then I suggest working on the eyes and hands. Pretty good tip if I'm being honest with you here. For a true beginner artist, I think Candi would have benefited more if they spent more time studying forms, shapes, and learning anatomy and how to simplify it using shapes, and also learning the features of the face so they could improve their drawings faster. Speaking of improving drawings faster, Candi also posted some more art which still looked like some of the drawings they had posted before. Still pretty much what you'll expect from a beginner artist, and nothing far from the norm that will make you want to instantly quit making art because you're not seeing the same level of improvement in your work. The colors still looked a bit muddy, the proportions were all over the place and needed a bit of work, but as they kept posting, it seemed as if they stopped using the soft airbrush to paint the shadows in their work and started painting their shadows with a little bit more color. The drawings were beginning to look more confident than the first couple of posts, and they even did an art trade with another supposed artist, but the comments were still having a field day with Candi's drawing, saying it looked terrible and didn't deserve to be in an art trade, while others kept insisting the other artists should definitely ask for their money back because this is not it. I'll explain why I call them a supposed artist in just a second. At this point, Candi had posted drawings across the span of roughly 5 days, and each day there was some form of gradual improvement in the drawings. Not enough to raise eyebrows, but enough to get people leaving comments on their posts, acknowledging their progress and commending them for their work, saying they were making so much progress and were rooting for them. But it was not until they posted this drawing did the suspicions start getting raised, along with eyebrows, and the questions started trooping in, accusing them of being a fake beginner artist in disguise. I'm not jumping to conclusions, but what if you were secretly a goated artist in disguise? How? If anyone wants to do a social experiment like this, please try to be realistic with the transitioning from beginner artist to a pro. How were you all so gullible? Literally no one improves this fast. Aside from all the other young artists in the comments not paying close attention, totally oblivious to how long it actually takes to get better at art to the point where a semblance of what could be called skill can be seen in your work, people began to notice the jump in skill from Candi's previous posts to the new drawings they were posting. It will appear they had miraculously learned how to nail their proportions a tad bit better than before in under a couple of days, and supposedly learned how to clean up their sketch with rather decent looking line art. The colors and shading also took a massive jump from where they started earlier, and while such astonishing and mind-blowing improvement is not unrealistic and far-fetched for an artist with a decent amount of practice and experience, but jumping from this to this as an absolute beginner within the span of a couple of days just doesn't make a lot of sense here. Something just doesn't sit right, and it has nothing to do with how I'm sitting on this chair right now. Candi also went ahead to post a speed paint of the drawing to prove to everyone that they had actually made the drawing themselves, and they really had somehow improved while they did it. But knowing how our TikTok responds to claims like this, the video they posted ended up acknowledging all the suspicions everyone had of Candi. I the only one who thinks this is just a really talented undercover artist posing as a new artist? She's so good, it's so hard to think otherwise. Bringing up very important questions that needs to be asked here now, are we? But the questions didn't just end there. Oh no. Candi posted a redrawing of the first image they made just a couple of days ago, and oh my god, the difference is just too clear to ignore at this point. The post had over 400,000 views with over 3,000 comments, and the entire art community on TikTok were losing their minds trying to figure out how an absolute beginner could have gone from drawing like this to drawing this within the span of 14 days and counting. People started questioning how they were able to improve so fast within 3 days and started accusing Candi of being an undercover artist who already knew how to make good drawings all along. Other artists who were either way impressed by the amount of progress Candi had made with their drawings started giving drawing advice for Candi to follow so they could improve some more with their work, while others accused Candi of tracing the drawing and not really improving at all, which really wasn't the case because Candi posted another speed paint showing them starting the entire drawing from scratch all the way to them adding color and finishing the drawing. And looking at this speed paint, I can confidently tell you there is no possible way the amount of progress they made from where they started to where they are now could have been achieved by an absolute beginner artist. The way they all of a sudden learned how to add color in their shadows properly and how to paint the face and add blush to the skin and render eyes that look as good as that in 3 days, jumping from this to this, is just insanely ridiculous. I'm guessing Candi must have started to realize people were figuring out they had a little trick up their sleeves, so they posted another drawing, but this time pulled back on all the progress they had made just to throw off people's suspicions a bit. But just like the jump from their first drawing to the second, the massive downgrade in their art literally made people question their progress some more. The next drawing they posted was slightly better, and this time they even started playing around with some creative lighting, which made everyone on TikTok cheer for them even when they clearly could tell something just wasn't right about the progress they were making in their art. But then Candi decided to finally stop screwing around and posted a drawing that served as the nail on the head that summed up this entire situation, finally solidifying everyone's assumptions about them. The comments immediately started rolling in. Everyone could tell that this person definitely was no beginner and was faking being bad at art, pretending to not know what they were doing so they could garner the sympathy and support of the art community, while they casually strut around as the new kid on the block, making progress with their art faster than you could possibly imagine. Aside from the eyes being a smidge farther apart in the drawing, every other part seemed as close to the reference as it could possibly get. The colors looked pretty accurate. The lighting, God, can we just take a moment to appreciate the lighting? Like, hello? You mean to tell me a beginner learned how to paint light and color as good as this and understood how to use subsurface scattering in their work in less than a week? At this point, just sign me up to whatever it is they're using to learn from. This has to be fake. She ain't a beginner artist. Something's telling me this improvement is not humanly possible in 6 days. Even with her first art, she had insanely confident lines and very clearly knew how to use Ibis paint well. The friend's art style is the exact same as this one. You can't learn all of this in a week. Remember the supposed art that Candi claimed was made by a friend I mentioned earlier? Well, it seems it was all fake and was probably made by Candi themselves, claiming it was made by another person entirely. And how did I come up with this magnificent discovery all by myself? Well, Candi themselves posted on TikTok finally coming clean about the situation and telling the truth on what had been happening all along. This account is not meant to be bait. This was all meant to be a social experiment. I didn't mean for any of this to actually get attention, and I have no bad intentions to actually fool people. I'm extremely sorry for anyone who actually supported my journey. I truly feel guilty, which is why I made this post. I made this account because I was fed up of not getting any attention with my actual art. I know I should have been grateful. My old account had 52 followers, which I should have been grateful for, but spending 4 to 9 hours on an art piece for a few views each was tiring. If you choose to continue following, as I will continue posting art, or unfollow, both are valid, and I understand. Why I continued this for long is because I was scared of admitting it and being hated when I know that I'm already hated due to being bait. If you choose to make hate videos, please do not tag me, as I'm sensitive. I apologize for anyone who I've upset, but I promise I have no bad intentions. Thank you to all who have supported me. Where do we even begin with this? This is actually a lot to take in all at once, so I'm still letting it get to me first. I think Candi doesn't deserve any of the hate they're getting, and as they explained, anyone could be tempted to do this as well, just knowing how TikTok and social media treats artists. Young artists who are trying to build a career on social media are struggling to grow their accounts, and each day it's becoming harder and harder to grow an account as an artist. Now, does that justify lying to your audience for internet points? That is a big no. There's a line to be drawn here. Things like this, which they innocently refer to as a social experiment, just end up doing more harm than good in the long run, and hurts all the beginners who were actually looking up to Candi, seeing all their progress and were getting inspired by it, thinking they could also achieve a similar level of improvement if they spent just 7 business days working on their art, when that is entirely false. Faking art progress not only breaks confidence in beginner artists, but it also gives them a false expectation of the amount of progress you can achieve in an unrealistic time frame, like what Candi just did. Candi then proceeded to post that they will be quitting posting art and leaving TikTok because they couldn't take the guilt anymore, and they didn't expect this entire discourse to get this far. Everyone in the comments pleaded with them not to quit at all, and I personally think they shouldn't, since it's not like they did something extremely terrible that they deserve to be cancelled out of the entire art community. They made a simple mistake, just like every normal person does once in a while. They also did come out and own up for it and apologize, and I think it's fair for them to continue sharing their art and inspiring people to keep on drawing the right way. If there's any other reason why they intend to quit that we don't know about, then well, that's an entirely different story. This whole situation was just a big misunderstanding that went a little too far, and I don't think we should be losing any sleep over it. Next time, let's just try not to lie to ourselves and the people looking up to us for inspiration, because little things like this kinda go a long way, if I'm being totally honest with you. So cheers to Candi for finally being honest about what they had been doing, and good luck to them with whatever they intend to do henceforth. And as for all the beginner artists who felt discouraged that they couldn't just become amazing artists overnight, it's a process and you just have to stick with it for the longest time possible. Every single artist you look up to is still struggling to improve on something every single day they draw. So just keep practicing and remember you are not alone. Well, it looks like you made it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, share the video with a friend, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. With all that being said, I'll see all you pretty penguins in the next video. Bye.